Hello everyone, so today we'll be making a Laravel and VueJS CRUD to-do list app. So for Laravel, we'll be creating our models with their migrations and also authentication. So we'll also be setting up routes and creating a controller. And then we'll be setting up our controller methods, which is the index, store, update, and delete. So right after that, we'll be setting up our view. So we'll be making our own component. So we'll be adding in there our HTML table. So for us to be able to populate data to it. So we'll be reading data. Then we'll create data. So we'll send it from view to Laravel and to the database. So we'll also be displaying errors. So we'll also be updating data, deleting data. We will also add a resetting data method. So later on you will know what method is that. So we'll also be creating a loader feature and lastly a notification feature. So basically, this is how the Laravel project uh, looks like. So we have the register. So already did this one before. So now let's log in. So this is basically our final output. Okay. So we have a button that shows up the modal for the create modal. So we also have edit, so we can edit data. Yes, that's it. So let's try editing it. Let's see, recording. So save changes. As you can see, there is a notification that is being displayed here on top. And let's try adding new tasks. So let's say we don't have anything and let's click save. So as you can see, errors shows on top. Okay. And for the delete, so let's say we'll delete this one. So something pops out on top. If we click OK, then it's deleted. So when we look at the database, it is already reflected. So that's just basically it. So your projects are also going to look like that too. Okay, now before we do that, so let's set up our Laravel project. So let's create a Laravel project. Okay. So let's look at the documentation. So that's Laravel installation. So the latest version for Laravel is, I think it's Laravel 6. So we're now using Laravel 7. So here are the requirements. So we can just check this one. So now there are two ways to install Laravel. So this one. So this is to install Laravel through Composer. And this one is to install our Laravel project. So we will just use a more simplified command, but they're just the same. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's create a new Laravel project. So for first now I'll be choosing a directory where I will be storing our Laravel project. So I'll be storing it in codes. So these are codes. Okay, so let's name this one single page app. Oh, mali. We forgot something. So to create a Laravel project, so let's use this command. So that's composer create project prefer dist Laravel slash Laravel, and now let's name it web dev summer. So let's just wait for it to be installed, so it might take some time. Okay, so after that, so we already installed our Laravel, so let's check. So now we already have web dev summer, so let's go to that directory. Okay, so right after that, so we need to do our scaffolding for our front end, so we can go to this part of the documentation. So it says here that bootstrap and view scaffolding provided by Laravel is already located in the Laravel UI composer package. So we'll be using PHP Artisan UI view auth. So before we can execute this command, so we still need to install the Laravel UI. So now let's go back to our terminal and composer require Laravel. So after that, we now execute the PHP Artisan UI view dash shot. So this will generate our login and registration scaffolding. Okay, so it's successful. Now let's do npm install. So make sure you have Node.js installed on your computers. Okay, now after, let's run npm run dev to compile our front end data files. So there's also a counterpart of npm run dev, that's npm run watch. So as we build up the course or the web app, to-do list app, so you'll be able to know the difference of npm run dev and npm run watch. So now it's successful. So now let's try to run this using PHP Artisan Serve. So a Laravel application won't run without PHP Artisan Serve. So let's go. So you need to go to this IP. So now let's register. Let's try to register. So as you can see, it shows up an error because it says that the database does not exist. Edit the .env file. So the .env file is our configuration file in Laravel. So now let's go to our project folder. So that is web app, web dev summer. So open. Okay. Now let's go here. So there's .env. So these are the configurations that we need. So now, this is for the database. So DP connection can be MySQL, MS SQL. So we can see our database is under here in the config. So for MySQL, we need to use the keyword MySQL. For SQLite, PostgreSQL, we use this. For Microsoft or SQL or MS SQL, you use SQL SRB. So now, let's set up this one. So for the database, so this is the database name. So let's create a database in PHPMyAdmin. So let's name it Web Dev App. So now we already have an empty database in PHPMyAdmin, so we don't need to create the structure here right directly in PHPMyAdmin. So we'll set it up in Laravel. So the database name is web dev app. The password name is root, and the password is root. Okay. So that's it. So we have already set up our configuration for Laravel. Okay, so now let's go back to the terminal. So for that, let's go to the code. So let's show you. So in the database, we already have default migrations being set by Laravel. So it has created a user table, password reset table, job. So yeah. So now for us to be able to log in and register, so we have to migrate these migrations. Let's go to our terminal, and this one is PHP Artisan migrate. Okay, so now we have migrated our table. So let's refresh. So now we have our tables. So user is empty. So let's refresh this one. Okay, so forgot to PHP Artisan Serve. So again, in this, the Laravel web app won't run without PHP Artisan Serve. So now let's register again. So now we are successful. We are now able to log in, and hopefully you guys should be able to log in too. Okay.